What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob Restituto, and I have a really special guest here on the channel today. We have Schnell Jordan. Hopefully pronounced that right. Here on the channel. So thank you so much for taking, first of all, thank you for everybody watching and tuning in, and thank you so much for taking the time, Schnell, for being on the channel. I appreciate you taking the time. This is going to be a really cool conversation. So for people that aren't familiar with you, can you give a little backstory on who you are and make sure I'm pronouncing the name properly? I apologize.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your channel. It's definitely a pleasure. Hi, everyone. My name is Schnell Jordan. So you pronounce it correctly. Don't worry. I am also a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel where I do vocal analysis and reactions to music videos of all genres and countries, actually. And I have about 43,000 right now at the moment. And then I also just started my music channel and vlog channel. So kind of becoming a full-time YouTuber at the moment. So
Hey, I love it. Officially full-time? Like, do you have a side job now, or is YouTube your job?
no, so it's very interesting. So I'm actually also a full-time, I work in the corporate world as well. I'm an HR manager as well.
Wow.
So in the media industry. Advertising industry, but this is definitely sort of my passion and something that I've always wanted to lean towards. And it's been my long lost dream for the past 5, 6 years. And I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do it. And boom, 1 year later, it's like,
It's amazing.
what just
That's amazing.
happened?
Hey, you know what? So would you love it for it to become your full-time gig?
Absolutely. That's the goal. I mean, when I first started in Jan of 2020, that's actually when the pandemic hit.
Hmm.
And like all of us, I had so much time on my hands, and I just didn't want to get into a rut and just sit down and watch TV and not really be productive. And I thought, you know what, I think I felt like the universe gave me that opportunity at that time for time and energy, and I'm working from home. I was like, this is the perfect situation. And I was like, why not? Let's just, I mean, yeah, and the rest is history. I literally started in Jan of 2019.
Hey, you know what? That's the perfect time to start because there's so right 2 months later, everybody in the world is watching YouTube. So,
Exactly.
so actually, the first question I have for you is based off of the fact that you do work a corporate job. I speak to people very often that are like, I'd love to do YouTube, but I work a full-time job. Like, and the truth is, like, I worked plenty of jobs while so as of April 1st, actually, so a month and a half ago was my first full month a full-time YouTuber. But like
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that, thank you. Before that though was years and years and years of doing it with juggling other jobs, right? So I would love to hear your perspective on finding the balance between growing this channel to 43,000 subscribers in about a year and a little, actually less than a year and a half,
Yeah.
while also working a 40-hour or even more possibly week, in a corporate job.
Yeah. I think it is very important. I think at the beginning, when I decided to open a YouTube channel, I knew that this is something that I wanted to move forward with, regardless of, whatever happens. And I think having that passion is very, very important. You can't just open a YouTube channel or a business just because someone else has
Ah,
opened it. You get bored.
sure.
For everybody watching, I'm sure so many of us have tried doing things before that, we didn't really know why we're doing it, and you just do it, and then you get bored of it, and you get lost, and then you stop doing it. So I think having that vision and having that goal and that purpose and passion of why you're doing something
Sure.
is so important. And I think that sort of drove me to work extra and time management. You have to know how to manage your time. So now that I know that this is something I'm not going to budge off, I'm not going to sacrifice my YouTube channel because I have a full-time job. So I was like, how do I make this work? I have weekends, I have mornings, and I have evenings, right? And also knowing that this is not something that I'm going to be doing forever. This is a sacrifice I'm making where I may have to work on weekends.
Absolutely.
You know what
That's a
I
great
mean?
point. That's a
Yeah.
great point, actually. A good perspective, I think, to realize that like you said, the long term goal would be to potentially do this full time, Well, then when you do it, when you get to that point, when you grind that long, well, then you won't have your 40-hour week. So you like at the other. So that is a great point to realize. You know, like you said, to have the passion first, because that's the most important thing. Because you're gonna easily
Absolutely.
burn out if you don't have that passion. But
Yeah.
then to realize that this is temporary, to the grind like this. That is
Yeah.
so. That is a great point. Absolutely. So I apologize for
Yeah.
interrupting. You can continue, but that was
No,
great.
absolutely. Just yeah, it's great that when you understand that, it's temporary and you're doing this just for a while so you can have that abundant, free life in the near future. And I mean, you're a great example, and I'm getting there to a point. So it's like, it drives you and it motivates you, like, okay, like we got to keep doing this. And when you see the results happening, I think that also motivates you, because when there's action, there's always a reaction. So, you put in the work, you're always going to get it back. Is what.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your channel has actually grown really pretty fast, actually. So 43,000 in a year and a half. Like, did what was where was the bulk of it? Was a steady growth? Was it like 50,000, 40,000 overnight? Was it like, I'd love to
No.
hear that story.
So initially, when I first started my YouTube channel, it was just a little bit of everything.
Okay.
It was just like a little bit of vlogs, a little bit of music, a little bit of like music reactions. So it didn't really have a theme. It
Okay.
didn't really have a base. So I was not growing as much. And for me, I always like to, observe what other, like my competitors are doing, or I had to reevaluate my channel and see, okay, what is it that I'm doing? Because if you understand like the YouTube algorithms, and if you study like, what works and what doesn't work, if you put in the right kind of content for your channel, it is going to grow. So but that wasn't working for me. So I had to keep reevaluating my channel. And then what happened was, once somebody on my, like, hey, have you heard of this singer called Yeba, my mind, you should totally react to song because you're a musician and you understand music and I think you love it.
So before,
And
this is prior to you doing any sort of reaction?
yeah, and I had like,
Interesting.
yeah, and I had like less than 1,000 subscribers at that point. So I didn't even know what reactions were at that point. So I was like, hey, cool, like, and then I looked up and I saw if people do reactions, and there's this whole
For real. I totally.
world. I was like,
Yeah.
what in the world
I've been
is
to. I've been there.
but then again, I didn't want to then. So then I was like, oh my god, is this very saturated? And then you
Hmm.
have anybody and everybody also doing reactions. So how do I make myself stand out, and
Mm-hmm.
how do I produce quality work that will, you know um, really attract people, and was to be authentic and genuine? And actually, if I'm saying I'm watching something for the first time, I genuinely want to watch something for the first time and give that genuine reaction. And I think the audience really connected with that. And oh my god, it after my first reaction, I added like Dimash, and then it just like boom 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 boom, like started blowing up. And I was like, what is happening? And that's when I was like, okay, I think I need to cater this channel more to reactions, because that's the crowd I'm getting. So, and then I sort of streamlined like other channels from it, like, okay, one vlog channel and one music channel. I like just opened them actually not too long ago, a few months ago.
Yeah. How are those channels doing, if you don't mind me asking?
So I opened my music channel in February of
Okay.
this year. So that's 4 months, and it's close to 1,000 subscribers now, which is pretty like amazing. And I have my vlog channel that I also opened right after I opened my music channel, which is 600 subscribers.
Cool.
So yeah, those are like my little babies. They're just like growing,
Yeah.
but it's cool to see that that momentum and that
Sure.
growth. And because normally it takes so long for your channel to grow, right? It takes over a year, a couple years, 5 years, 10 years for some. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah. So I'm curious your perspective. I find this so fascinating. The debate of single channels versus multiple channels.
Yes.
So why did you decide to like do three different channels rather than do everything on one channel? Like you kind of briefly touched on it. So I'm like looking
Yeah,
for more of
no,
like
absolutely.
a drawn out answer kind of thing.
Absolutely. So it's like when you open a channel and when you connect with an audience, they connect with you on a certain level. So it's like demand and supply. So it's like when I, for example, started, doing more reactions, and, I was noticing a lot more views and comments was going to my reaction channels, because now YouTube has recognized my channel as just a reaction channel. So YouTube was only putting out more reaction videos of mine, not my vlogs and not my music videos. So once YouTube recognizes, like, okay, this is what's doing well, they only show those videos, and they only expose those videos out to a larger audience. So the other videos that you're putting up is not going to get that much recognition. So I understood that. And then I was like, okay. And so now when I have started my other music channel, it's one subject, it's one theme, it's like one foundation. So it's easy for you to get like the right kind of audience that'll watch all of your videos equally, with like the right amount of views that is in ratio to your subscribers.
What are the other channels under? What are the names for the other channels?
So my music is Schnell Jordan Music,
Okay.
and then I have my vlog channel that's Being Schnell.
Oh, cool. I like that. So, music. Let's talk about that. So, what kind of music do you do?
So I am more like pop, indie, but then I also have a rocker in me.
I like it.
So it's my dream to one day, do a rock song. Like, let's see, fingers crossed. But I'm very open to genres. I don't really label myself under one particular genre. I enjoy different genres of music, and when I write music, and when I start putting it together, it's like whatever comes out of it is sort of the song.
Yeah, I hear that. Absolutely.
It's definitely more like, I would say, like pop, indie vibes.
How many, like, do you have a decent, like, a couple songs out there at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually next month that I just finished. I released one I wrote during COVID, that I released on my music channel. And then right before that, I also released another one called We Collided. I have Dance of Love. I have Can't Fall. So I have quite a few.
I gotta check those out. I didn't realize you had those separate channels. Yeah, 100%. I plan to. Absolutely. That's great.
Yeah, that's my passion, and I think that's why I love doing reactions too, is because you discover so many different kinds of genres.
Very true.
And you learn so much.
Yeah.
And you get so much inspiration and motivation as well. So it's definitely, yeah. Absolutely. I can't wait to release the most recent one, though. I think that's one of my favorites that I've done.
When is that? What's the date for that? Do you have a general idea?
I don't have a fixed date, so it's already completed.
Okay.
Like mixed and mastered and everything. So, but I want to release it with a music video. So now I have to find a videographer. I have a couple of videographers here, so we're trying to like figure out the vision, and hopefully by like mid-June.
Great. When. Yeah, it's coming up. Good for you.
Yeah, hopefully. Cool. Fingers crossed. I'm not confirming anything yet.
So now that you have found the I don't even know what you'd call it, the tunnel of reaction channels here on YouTube, right? Do you find yourself watching other channels or like that, or do you not watch other channels?
I do. I definitely do, but yeah, I do, because I want to, see what I'm competing against, obviously, because you want to make sure you're aware of, like, what you're competing with and what's working, what's not, what are people like genuinely looking for, and why do people like watch, research, reaction videos. So it's more in that sense, but I definitely do enjoy watching reaction videos too. Nice. It's a lot of fun.
What other type of YouTube videos do you watch?
I love watching vlogs. I love like following like journeys of people. And there's this one couple that I watch and I love them. They're called Jess and Gabriel. They're amazing. They have like
Jess and Gabe Conti?
Yes, yeah. I love them. I love them because their editing and the content that they put out is such quality work. And again, it's like inspirational and you learn so much from them. And that's kind of like, the route I want to go in terms of, having my own vlog channel. So Yeah, definitely
Do they
that.
have
A lot
separate
of
channels, or
music.
do they have the same channel for their music and their vlog?
So they, so I know they have one channel for their
Okay.
vlog, and then Gabriel has a separate channel where he puts out his music and his other stuff, and then Jess has her own channel as well. So they
Interesting.
have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very. I learned. I think one of my really good friends. He's actually another YouTuber as well, and he blew up. He's in the engineering field, and that's something he learned as well. Like he knows like about the behind the scenes of YouTube and everything. And he was like, yeah, you need to like streamline your content because like YouTube gets confused as to like YouTube will only expose the content that is working and that what people are watching.
Mm.
So more content people are watching, and YouTube's only going to expose
Mm-hmm.
that kind of content.
Hey, it's fascinating. It's super interesting. A
Yeah.
question from one of the subscribers is, who are some? You mentioned like the fact that you have, you love you're a rocker inside. So who are some of your rock influences?
Oh my God. Iron Maiden.
Wow, oh, it's like pretty
I
heavy rock, huh?
Yes, yes. I grew up listening to Van Halen.
Wow.
Also
Okay.
because because my brother was in a heavy metal
Okay.
band growing up. So I was very, very, very inspired by my brother and the bands he used to listen to. And like rock, in terms of rock, like Def Leppard, I absolutely love Def Leppard, is one of my all-time favorite. And then you have like the grunge rock, Nirvana, and then you have punk rock, which I love, which was like Blink 182. Growing up, in high school was like the best thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So definitely, yeah, a few of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. It's interesting because like, I mean, that's a long. That's like 30 years worth of rock right there for you, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
What do you?
So I grew up in
Okay.
Nepal, which is like, I'm sure you know where Nepal is, right? And so when I was growing up, my dad like were musicians as well. So they were always listening. My dad was listening to 70s and 80s rock, and then
That's
my
cool.
brother was also listening to like 80s, 90s rock. So I had that like growing up in the house like since I was a little kid. So I have like, you know, so much information in terms of like music from like back
Mm-hmm.
in the
That's
day.
amazing. Do you do breakdowns and reactions of that on your channel? Oh, sorry.
Breakdown,
Do you
sorry,
do
as
like
in
reactions to that on your channel? Yeah, yeah,
rock
that
music.
genre.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually done a couple, I think, but not like hardcore. I've done Ginger. I don't know if you've
Mm-mm.
done Ginger or you've heard of her. She's like a female rocker, which I had no idea about, and I found out through YouTube. And she's like one of my favorites right now. She's just amazing. So yeah, she's. I've done her. I've done The Warning, which is like another like sort of rock metal band. Yeah, I've done a couple.
Have you do you find that the views are different on your videos depending on the artist? Like in the sense of like, you mentioned, you're streamlining your channel, right? So you have the vlog channel, you have the artist channel, you have the vlog channel, and the reaction channel. So obviously usually the bigger the artist, the bigger the views essentially. But like,
Yeah.
I'm curious if like, if because everything is so streamlined to reactions, if they all do relatively similar, or there are ones that just shoot off and some that just kind of just hang by the wayside.
No, absolutely. I definitely feel like there is a crowd for reactions more for a few more artists than the others, even though they might like even though some of the artists may be more popular than the others, but there are some artists that for some reason people like look for their
That's true.
reactions on and so that is there. But
That's actually a
so
great
yeah.
point, actually, I think, because there are some pretty popular artists out there. For example, like say the band Maroon 5, right? Like everybody knows the band Maroon 5, right? It's a household name. But I feel like there's not a lot of people looking for Maroon 5 reactions, right? But then you go for like somebody like Morissette, or like, you mentioned Dimash, like where
Angelina
yeah,
Jordan.
like not household names yet, but like those do, like there's a lot of people looking for reaction for them, which is interesting,
Wild.
right? But then you have the alternative, like somebody like some huge names like BTS and Taylor Swift. Like there are still people that are looking for those, because you could make the argument that would be like, okay, well, it's because they're undiscovered yet people like want to like feel like they're part of something, you know, right? But that's
Yeah.
not true about like
Yeah.
like BTS and Taylor Swift. Like everybody knows those names, right? So like, but it is interesting.
Exactly.
Like there are certain artists that are super popular, but just nobody's watching their videos like that. So it is very fascinating.
Exactly. And just to like, yeah, discovering that through YouTube has been fascinating for sure. I'm like, wait, I've never heard of this
Sure.
artist before, but oh my God, like the amount of reactions and the amount of requests and the amount of people that love
Yeah.
this artist is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And that's when you realize how huge YouTube is as a platform for artists or like anybody, you know, like if you are able to garner like an audience or a connection through people on YouTube, you're gonna like blow
Yeah.
up and be so
Yeah.
successful. Like it's
It
amazing.
is amazing, and it's amazing to see the fan bases that some people have that aren't like we said household names. They're like it's
Yeah.
actually that there are that many people willing to like interested in willing to watch their reaction to their video. It's pretty amazing actually. What I've also found amazing is the whole Filipino industry at the moment is like on
Oh
fire,
my God. Are you kidding me?
right? Like they
When I
what?
it's crazy when I try to find like videos too for like Filipino artists because I started with Morissette
Sure,
and Moan, and then I did was it no, it was not I think Marcelito Pomoy, and like so many of these artists, and like people are like sending all these names like you should react to this and this and this, and when you research it, I'm like holy moly. Like they all have like a huge line of like all these artists who are like absolutely
yeah,
amazing and have like so many reactions.
yeah.
Like it's like a whole other world out
It is pretty
there.
fascinating, and with the talent over there is like absurd at the moment. It's so fast.
It's
It's really interesting to see like that whole just industry is doing really well at the moment. You know, like there's so many artists coming out of there. You know, it's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm curious
everyone's
though if there
talented. Yeah.
if there was an artist that like you were. I mean, a lot of the stuff you're mentioning like you had no idea about and you're finding, which is cool. Like, what was the one that surprised you the most? Maybe that you were like, oh wow, I did not anticipate this and love it or loving this. You know what I mean? Like there are certain things that like yeah you definitely enjoy and you like I assume, but like there are ones that you're like wow I really like this artist or something like that.
Ooh, let me see. I think honestly, the first time someone really like blew me away, and I was like, "What in the world?" was Dimash. He like was just something I had not like expected to come
Hmm.
out of a human being. And I think Morissette and Moan was the other one for me.
Wow. Okay.
Where, yeah, because I was like, I knew she could have, like, I knew, okay, I know she's gonna sing and I know she's gonna have a beautiful voice, but the amount of range that she had and like just control and like power in her voice was, I was taken
I
unexpectedly.
feel like she also has this like personality that really fits like like superstardom kind of thing. Like
Exactly.
there's just something about her where you're like, yeah, she's gonna be a star.
Yeah,
Outside of
exactly.
talent, because there are plenty of people that are super talented, but like
Exactly.
I don't know. You just there's something you can just feel it where it's like, no,
You need that
she
X factor.
exactly
Yeah,
exactly. That's a great way to
yeah,
describe it. That
yeah,
X factor. You can't just put your finger on it. Where like, because there are plenty of artists out there that we've all heard and seen. They're like, wow, they're talented, but you like,
yeah.
I don't know,
Like,
but
yeah,
exactly. But no, there's something about her. Like she's like, wow, like there's something that is just different. You know what I mean? She's also got this
absolutely.
great like she's so innocent feeling and like just
I know.
like
I like love her so much. You
yeah.
have no idea. She's
She
amazing.
is. I was just actually. I filmed two videos to her today, so I was just like, and one of the comments I had about her in the video is like, she's just chilling. Like she's got this crazy voice, doing these insane runs. It's like she's
Yeah,
just chilling. Like it's not like she's not getting like crazy into it, and she's not like, yeah, look at me. She's just like at the end, she kind of just smiles, and it's like
yeah.
it's
She's
something
just
different,
sitting down and like singing like it's no big deal,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, do you realize
yeah,
what you're doing
exactly,
now?
exactly, exactly. Another question actually is the so you mentioned kind of piggybacking on what we were talking about earlier with the rock. So your rock background. Do you see yourself doing more of that like classic rock style reactions and stuff?
100%. 100%. And I think the thing about it's so tricky because I've heard so many songs like people have requested, and I always be honest and upfront if like when they're like you should hear, like for example Disturbed, I did Disturbed, The Sound of Silence, and you know they were like you need to hear the song, but I was like I've already heard him do the song, right? So I did a reaction to a live version that he had covered of Sound of Silence, and I let the audience know like hey, this is not my first time hearing it, but I've never heard him
So you
live, so
usually do first time reactions kind of thing?
first, yeah, I love discovering. Yeah, I always any time a person requests a song, I don't hear it till the time like I'm reacting
Sure,
to
sure,
it.
sure, sure.
You know what I mean? So it's always like my actual first time, and I don't say like my first time reacting, but every time they're like, "Hey, you should hear the song," I'll be like, "Cool, okay." If I've never heard it before, I'd be like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna react to the song for the first time in front of you guys."
How do
So.
you find the balance between doing songs that you love or the music that you love and song videos that are going to get the views?
Oh, that's tough, right?
Oh, for
That is
sure. So I'm curious your perspective on it.
it's definitely tough sometimes, and it's like finding that balance. And again, I don't want to get lost in terms of just doing reactions for the heck of doing it. And so I'll do obviously the reactions that are like big and like people are like coming to watch it, but then you'll also find reactions on my channel that I do that are not crazy views like the other ones, but I want to do it because like I genuinely want to hear this artist or this singer or react to their music, because that's the whole point of this channel, is to react to music that is genuinely like intriguing, and like I call it musical caffeine. So every time I hear a song that's like catches me and is like, oh my god, like I want to go write songs or I want to do music, I call
Sure.
it like musical caffeine. So
That's a
you need that
great
one.
term.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Like there are some things that you hear. I'll hear. I'm like, oh, I got to go write a song now. Like it just inspires
Yeah,
you to go do music. That's great. That's a great
exactly.
and like you're
Oh,
right. To seek that is actually pretty cool because I usually just stumble upon it where like of course like there's a discipline of writing music even when you don't feel like writing music, but there's certain times where you
yeah,
hear something and you're like, oh,
yeah,
this is I need to go write music now, like
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's interesting to kind
yeah.
of go
I want.
seek that. That's actually fascinating.
Yes, and I think that is so important for me because again, when we're doing anything in life, I think sometimes we get caught up with like the superficial things and then we forget about why, right? The why is always so important. And I always have to keep reminding myself is like, why did I open this channel? Why am I using my time and energy? Why, like, what's the basis of this channel? And every time I remind myself of that, I have to like, bring my focus back on the right thing
Yeah.
and then
Well, can I hear those answers? What is the basis of the channel? Why did you start the channel?
so my why was basically my passion for music and for me to continue doing music. And a lot of the reason why I started the reaction channel is so that I could get inspiration and motivation to
Wow.
continue keep writing music and doing music on my other channel. And it's starting to trickle down into my music channel, like and like I said, in like less than 5 months or 4 months, it's like getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which people normally take a year to get to 1,000
Hmm.
subscribers. And I think again it's because it's like you have to have like a plan, but again it's like you also need to, like I said, it's like the
Yeah.
passion has
Yeah.
to be there.
Absolutely.
That like
Yeah.
drives everything. So that's my why, is because I eat, live, breathe music. It's like my
Sure.
soul. I can't imagine life without music.
Oh, I hear that. Absolutely. Why do you think people watch reaction videos?
I think it's like they want to see if you feel the same thing that they felt when they watched their favorite
Sure.
artist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, for example, if I love, it's like me, I remember like I love watching like dance choreography videos and stuff as well. It's like one of my other like things I love doing on YouTube. So if I watch like a dance video that's like crazy choreography and I'm like, oh my god, you need to watch this, like I'll immediately go and show my
Mm.
husband or like someone, like, you need to watch this, it's so good. And like it's because you want them to see and feel the same thing that you
Sure.
felt, and you want to see excited about like the same things you got excited about. So I think that's what they look for when they're like looking for
Yeah.
reactions. It's like, oh my god, they feel
Yeah.
the same thing that I felt.
How do you? Yeah, I totally understand that. Absolutely. How do you, with 43,000 subscribers, how do you find the balance of like, how do you decide what you're gonna actually film? Because I'm sure you get a lot of requests, right? So like,
Yeah.
what's the deciding factor for you?
That's a good question. I think like a lot of the times it's also like if someone like some of the artists have like released a new song, like I'll prioritize that, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do this if they tell me like, hey, this person is releasing their song next week or this week. So I normally do that, and then I sort of have like a foundation of like a few artists that are like popular in my channel. So I look at what they're
Hmm.
requesting, and then I ask them like, hey, like I also just started my own Patreon channel, so then now I'm asking them separately like, hey, what do you guys want to see? So I give them like first dibs on like what they want to watch on my
Hmm.
YouTube channel. So just like I ask the community, I would see the requests, and I just see like what's like trending and what people are like looking for, and just basically choosing from
Yeah, no,
there.
I very much relate to that too. I feel like also you can see like when certain artists would be like, it's hard to sometimes justify doing because you only have so much time, right? So, but it's hard to justify, at least in my head, like you see a one-off request. It's like, okay, first of all, never seen this person on the channel before that like comment, and then second of all, like I've never heard, like that's the first time I've ever heard of this artist. It's hard to sometimes justify that where it's like, okay, I've seen this person comment on not even the same request, but like I've seen them
Oh my god,
comment in
yeah.
general, like this like, oh, I loved your video, thank you so much for doing this, or blah blah blah, or like then it's finally after like 7 videos of that, and then there's like, oh hey, I have this request. So, like you recognize the person, right? You recognize the people's
Yeah,
names in your comments, right? And then
absolutely.
that, but also if you see like, okay, there's a lot of people requesting the same artist, right? Then it's like, okay, well then that kind of catches your attention. The funny people are the ones that you've never seen before, but they go through like 30 of your videos and copy and paste the same thing, and it's like that kind
I'm
of
like,
turns me off from wanting to do your
if
video,
you
kind of
do
thing.
that, I'm never going to like like react to that video.
Yeah.
Like, I just hate it. Like, it's like they'll literally spam your videos and all of your channel. They'll even spam you on your Instagram and send you the same thing on Instagram. And I'm like, what is your point? Like, do you think I'm gonna get excited by you sending me 50
Yeah.
messages?
I
And
mean, I think the mentality is like the more they try, the more they're gonna like the likelihood
yeah,
you're gonna see it, which you do. Like, but for the
yeah.
people that read every comment, like me and you, it's like, well, now I'm just reading 50 of your comments, and it's like,
Exactly. But yeah, it is what it is, right? It's like
it's still an
the
honor when you think about it. It's still an honor that that even
absolute
that they want that much. You know what I mean? So that's
on,
when you keep
yeah,
that perspective, it's still a huge honor.
absolutely. And that's a great point. And I just have the fact that they want you to like react to that piece so much is
Yeah,
definitely.
there's a
But
really interesting perspective that I don't know if you've ever heard of the channel Kofi Reacts. Um,
yeah.
he made a really interesting perspective when I had him on for a chat like this. He said
Mhm.
sometimes he tries to do as many as he can because he's like, I would love to know why this person loves this artist so much that they take the time to type out a request on your channel. Because to be honest, like think about this, like for the videos you watch, how often do you leave a comment? Like I never leave comments on
Never,
videos. So like the fact when you
never.
think about that, the fact that people are leaving comments is actually a huge compliment because
And like, not just one line, like
oh
details,
my
like
gosh,
content, the
that is
background,
yes.
the history, and I'm like,
That to take
wow,
the time to write that whole thing for you is
like
like
how
amazing.
passionate they are about the artist. 100%.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
crazy.
I agree
Yeah,
absolutely. Um,
yeah.
but it is pretty interesting. But he's like, I want to know why this person loves this artist so much that they want me to experience it, and that's a really interesting perspective when you think about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it just ties into the whole part of like they want you to like experience and feel what they're feeling,
Yeah.
and the fact that they want to come to you out of all the other artists to like want you to react to their favorite artist is like such such an honor, and like
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm so happy to do it.
Yeah. So I'm curious your perspective on this. You mentioned like the fact that you're an artist as well. You make your own songs and stuff, which I
Yeah.
do as well. So how do you plan to, or how do you find the balance of like balancing? Okay, I'm also an artist, and like showing people that you're not just a reaction person,
Yeah.
and also an artist. Like that's a hard thing. I feel like too. You know,
Yeah.
because
See that?
people, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like the goal for me is like I'd love to be the artist one day that people are reacting to, right?
Yeah.
So like it's like how do it's a hard thing to navigate, you know, and I'm just I'd love to know if you have any perspective
Absolutely.
on that.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I just took this career, like singing career of mine, seriously, like a few years ago. I would say like 3 years ago, where I
Okay.
was like, okay, like I think I can do something with this, like, and there's something I can do with it. So I am still like figuring it out. And,
Sure.
it's like this whole, and so now I'm like, okay, this is like a journey. I'm not looking for, like, I'm going to put in the work, but I'm going to detach myself from the outcome. The outcome is, I'm not going to, expect. So it's like,
Sure.
I love being an artist. I love singing, and I love writing, and I love making music, and that's the whole purpose. And I think through that, everything else is going to come, slowly. So this is a very new journey to me, and this is something I just started. So I'm still learning and figuring it out. And I think the biggest thing for me right now is like, okay, I'm just going to keep making music because I
Hmm.
love making music, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. I'm not like holding, I'm always going to do this till I die.
Oh, I
Is
love
like
that. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really pumped to check out your stuff after this. So I'll definitely,
Yeah.
hold me to it. I'm definitely gonna check it out. So
I just started though, so I've written like the two originals, and like I have so very few singles, but this year I'm gonna pump out a lot of music this
I'm looking
year. And
forward to it. That's great. That's great. That's cool. Um, Slightly different genres you mentioned, like the songs are slightly different genres within themselves. Like you said, you kind of don't like to classify yourself into one specific genre, which
Yeah,
personally I agree
'cause
with. Like, if I want to make an R&B song, I want to make an R&B song.
yeah,
I don't want to be like, yeah,
yeah. Like Can't Fall is like, my song is definitely more R&B vibe. Then I have Dance of Love, which is like more like, it's like a very dance, like, song. And then I have We Collided, which is very like pop. And then I have what's it? Session Q, which I wrote about COVID, which is more like, it's like a very songwriter, like TS, like a dance electronic like background sort of vibe. So it's like I have like a very, like, I have inspiration from
yeah,
all different genres. So you'll see that in my
sure.
music. So it's like
I love that actually. That's really cool. Yeah, that's great. Is it on all the streaming platforms like Spotify and stuff, or is it just here on YouTube?
yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah,
Under
yeah.
Schnell Jordan.
Under Schnell
I love
Jordan.
that. Cool.
Yeah,
Where does the name Schnell come
yeah.
from?
God, don't even ask. So my original name was actually spelled Chanel when I was growing up. Um,
Chnel. Okay.
Chanel, Chnelle, Chanel. But like where I came from, a lot of people called me Channel, and like my parents didn't like it, so they're like trying to find a spelling that would have the correct pronunciation. And I think, I don't even know how they found it. And it's like, and Schnell is actually a German word, and it means like quick, fast. And so if I meet like a German, they're like, "Oh my God, do you know your name is German?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
That's funny. That's
German.
funny.
It means quick, fast, and I'm like, I
That's
know.
funny.
Like it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty quick, and I'm very fast at the stuff that I do. So I think I
No,
fit
I
in my
love that.
name.
Absolutely. That's great. This is a cool question from one of the subscribers. It says, "Are you fearful of taking requests for a reaction of an unknown artist and and disappointing your core audience?"
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, but then again, it's like so subjective, right? Like music is so subjective, and like people like different kinds of music, and there might be some artists and genres that I may enjoy that you may not enjoy. So it's obviously, you have to take that into consideration that not everybody's gonna like enjoy
Mm-hmm.
this, because like now I'm catering to rock fans and I'm catering to
Yeah.
like people who love jazz, and like they're so
Yeah.
different from each other, right? So I understand that a lot of my crowd won't really enjoy and be happy with all of the reactions, but then you have to cater to everybody, right? And everyone who's taking the time out to come to your channel and react and listen to what you have to say and see your reaction. So I obviously want to give time to everybody as much as I can.
Sure. So you mentioned your Patreon. So how is that different than your YouTube channel? Like, what kind of content do you post on there, or do you people just get essentially like early requests and stuff? Like, what's on that channel?
No, I do put like a lot of extra content. Like now I'm doing like sing offs, like, and I'm doing like battles between like my favorite artists, and like seeing like who I enjoy better,
Wow,
and like just
interesting.
like, yeah, so like just extra perks that you don't see on my reaction channel. And then just like, yeah, early access. And I just started it too, like not like 2 weeks ago. So obviously, again, as I keep growing, I'll keep like learning new things and figuring out what is it that I want to keep here, and then what is it that I want to keep on my reaction channel. So it's still very, very, very new. So still figuring it all out.
That is such an interesting debate that I think about all the time. It's like with Patreon, it's like what do you want to put behind that paywall, like versus like long term. Like so, for example, like what if I didn't have a Patreon, right? Like I would just post everything
Yeah.
on my channel. Like is that
Yeah.
going to benefit me more in the long term versus the short term? You know what I mean? Like it's such a
Yeah.
hard debate.
Absolutely. I think for me, it was about, you know, doing this full time. Like I put in so much time and I put in so much energy. And then sometimes because of copyright issues, I can't upload, or like, you're not really gaining anything from many of the videos, right? So, and not just that, I think it's just like so many videos I try to upload and it's like blocked, and like my viewers
Yeah.
can't watch it. And it's like, all these things. So like I'm trying to find a way that they have more access to even more reaction videos to all of their favorite artists, and make it more interesting and valuable, like hey, it's like worth your
Do
money.
you find that like even a lot of the international artists get copyright claims?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't be. I'm just curious
yeah.
'cause I'm not familiar. Copyright claims are the worst, man. Like, let me rephrase that. They're not because I want to give artists the money that they deserve, right? But it's like it
Absolutely.
is frustrating that sometimes like they get blocked or stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
understand it to be complete. It seems like such an old way of thinking. It's like
I'm like, don't give me the money, I don't care, but don't like
because
block
it's
it,
really
like
free
you all
promotion. It really I don't understand it honestly. Because you know how many people like that have come to my channel say for like one thing, right? They watch one artist and then they discovered so many artists. Like I see their comments in other
yeah.
completely different genres that they probably would have never found had like somebody. So because person A comes to the channel for this thing, but person B comes and requests this. Now person A is watching this video that they would have never seen had this
Exactly.
other person. So it's like it's really free promotion. It's just it's so fascinating that they make it so hard. Actually,
It's crazy, like that's happened to me a lot with my international like genres that I've done. And like a lot of my like country like videos, like artists have like watched like Iranian music, and they're like,
mm,
oh my god, I would have never watched this song, and you've introduced me to a new genre of music and like new kind of music, and I love it. And it's so cool to see
yeah,
that, like that connection from like different parts of the world, and it's like it's happening here, and
yeah,
it's like that's so
absolutely,
fascinating for sure.
absolutely. So how do you balance your time with working your full time job and create? How much content do you put out?
So I post like 4 videos a
Okay.
week. Um, so normally, like I said, I do like my time management. So I have like my shootings on one day, and then my husband has been helping with the editing. So he edits the videos, and then now I also have extra content for the Patreon that I have to upload and record. So yeah, I just like have like days where I like record the video, and then we have days where we edit, and then boom, we just like schedule them and upload them. And or if like there's a new artist that's like coming out with a new song, then I'll be like, okay, I need to like take this
Mm,
reaction. So I normally do that on the evenings, like
Mm-hmm.
after work, like when I'm done from
Mm-hmm.
work. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like I said, like you said, that the biggest thing that you said, I think so far, that really stuck with me is like the whole thing of like realizing that that grind that you're putting in is temporary. That is so
Yeah.
fundamental. You know what I mean? That like
There is a saying, yeah, there's a saying that stuck with me. You cannot have a you cannot become a millionaire with a minimum wage mindset. So, it's like you cannot become successful and, be where you want to be with just putting in like your clock in, clock out. You can't clock in and clock out when you're an
nah,
entrepreneur and when you're trying to build something. Like every successful person in this world has like, if you hear their stories, it's crazy, right? Nobody just sat and like did nothing and became successful. So you have to like realize, but it's up to you, right? The whatever you put in, you're gonna get back.
absolutely.
I
To
definitely
add
believe
on to
that.
that
So
quote, I've heard one similar that says, people
yeah,
that want to have the 1% life, but don't want to put in the more work than 99% of the other people, right? You know, it's like to
exactly,
live the 1%, you got to
exactly.
put in 99% more work than everybody else. So
No, and I've certainly been one of those people like in the earlier days, in my younger days, I was like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but you don't put in the work, like how the hell are you gonna get
yeah,
there? And I think the older I got, the more I realized it was like, okay, nobody's gonna save you, nobody's gonna come and give you a golden ticket. Like you gotta make this work and get to a point where people are going to recognize you. And then I think that is what like pushed me, and I was like, okay, I need to not for anybody else, but prove it to myself that I can make things happen. And
what was that
this is
point
my
for you?
journey.
Have you gotten to that point where you're like, you've proven it to yourself that you can make this happen?
I mean, this 2020 was absolutely a life-changing
Sure.
year for me, like where so many things happened and like my YouTube started blowing up and then my dreams were like coming into reality and like I released my first music video, We Collided, and and I was like, okay, like actually like if you put in the work and you make things happen, things will
Yeah.
happen. And I think that was just like a big realization for me. And I think I just reached a point where it's like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, where do I see myself going? And like, okay, this is where I want to be. In order to be that, what do I need to do
Mm-hmm.
right now? So it's like, just like a lot of self awareness was
Absolutely. I think a
happening.
lot of people had a lot of self awareness in 2020.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
super fascinating. Absolutely. Yeah, I also love the fact of what you said about the whole time management. It's super important too. It's like people think that that like just dilly dallying around watching Netflix, and it's like no, you gotta
Yeah.
put your, especially if you want to grow, like you gotta put the work in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And how did you stay encouraged, like as things were taking off? Like as you were starting off, how did did you just have this blind faith that things were gonna work out, or were you just kind of like, let's see what happens, or what?
I think a little bit of that for sure. I have a very strong connection with the universe. Like I have like a lot of faith in the universe, and I always believe that there's many things that have happened in my life where I'm like, like okay, like how did that happen? Like, but it's like it's a little bit of magic, it's a little bit of action, and it's a little bit of I just knew like I started with like learning about like the law of attraction, and like you put in action and you get it back, and I was like, okay, let me put that to work and see if it works. So that's what I did. I basically 2020 was like I know all these things and I've read all these things, so let's put it into reality and actually see if it works. And then lo and behold, it actually works.
How far would you say you are away from doing this full time?
Whew, oh my gosh. I mean, it's tricky because there's so many changes happening in my personal life right now. So if I want to, I can actually just leave right now and that'd be good. But I just need to. There's so many things that I want to do, and we want to do, my husband and I as a couple. Like, so we need to get to a certain
Mm-hmm.
place to be there. So I would say maybe like 6 months
Really,
to a
that's pretty
year.
cool though. Good for you.
We're like, yeah.
That's great. Well, hey, I pray that it gets even faster than you expect, man. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I would,
Yeah.
in honesty, that happened to me. I had a goal, like set that. So, for example, I gave guitar lessons for a long time, like 10 years, right? And then I
Yeah.
probably about it in June of last year, I had this kind of just thought, I guess you would call it, right? And I was like, I hope by like June of next year, like my goal for June of next year, like I won't be tutoring anymore. I didn't say necessarily full time YouTube, but I just didn't want to be tutoring anymore. And
Yeah.
March 31st was my last day, so like it ended up
Wow.
happening being faster than I. So this is my full time job now, as of like I said, April 1st. So it ended up having being
That's
faster.
amazing. How does it feel?
I
Like,
love it. It's
you
so freeing. The fascinating part though, so is you have to keep this perspective of it being so free, because it's so easy to get caught up in like the work aspect of it, like, oh, I gotta film another video, oh, I gotta do this, where it's
yeah,
like, as you have to make the choice to stay happy with it, because what's the point if you're not enjoying it, right? Because
yeah.
it can turn into a job that you hate, which is the craziest thing ever, because like you're literally living this life that most people would like love to have, right? And it's so easy to
Exactly.
get caught up in the grind of wanting of wanting to grow it even further, that you lose the perspective of enjoying it. Like, if I could give anybody that
Yeah.
advice, it's like, just enjoy the process. It's worked out this far, it's going to continue to work out. That you've gotten to 43,000, like it's going to keep working out, right? And it's like, if we stop stressing about it and enjoying the process, like that's all it should really be about. It feels great though, like, but the funny thing is, like, now I have this freedom, and I don't sometimes use that freedom because I get so caught in this growth mentality, right? It's like
Oh
I
my
could literally,
gosh. See, that's what I'm scared
well, but that's,
of.
yeah. So it's keeping that perspective though. It's like remembering, like, hey, I have videos that I can post today. I don't have to film another 15 videos, right? Like, I can go to the beach with my wife now on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. I
Yeah.
like, and it's learning that like balance of, no, it's okay to take that break. You literally, this is why you do what you do. You know what I mean? And it's like having your mind. It's a hard balance to find.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so
Thank
happy for
you.
you. That's like the
Thank
dream.
you.
So hopefully I can get there
Yeah.
soon.
Let me ask you a question. Do you dispute your copyright requests or copyright claims?
Sorry,
Do
what
you
was the
dispute
question?
your copyright claims?
I do.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah. Not all of them, but like, yeah. I definitely do
where?
most. Yeah. What
Oh,
about
every
you?
single one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so my next question to follow up with that is, where is the majority of the income come from with YouTube? Is it Patreon? Is it YouTube? Is it sponsors? Like the ad
YouTube
revenue? Yeah, same
revenue.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think for reactions to get like sponsors, it's very tricky. Like at least for, I
that's
mean, tricky
interesting.
as
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, I hear that.
you know what I mean? Because um yeah, I that's what my perspective, because I've gotten a lot of like requests for um sponsors, but it's been, I don't know, I'm like, it seems a little shady, so I haven't found one yet that's been like, okay, like I could trust this one. But I still don't know like how to um I wouldn't know what to expect out of a sponsorship for reaction videos.
Yeah. So, for example, one that I work with is a company that I personally release my music through. So I
Yeah.
say, we guarantee a certain amount of views for them, essentially. So I'll say, like, it's a certain payment per month for a certain amount of views, essentially. And so once we hit that
Right.
views, I'll stop mentioning the videos, which I should just mention it more, because like, it benefits me essentially in the end. But
Yeah.
it's like, but I say, if you're interested in releasing music just like I release music, or just like this artist. So for example, we're talking, say, Olivia Rodrigo. If you're interested in releasing music just like Olivia Rodrigo releases music and I release music, definitely
Yeah.
consider checking out this company, kind of thing. So
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's definitely possible, but the majority, like you said, comes from YouTube ad revenue, which is interesting because there are other artists or other channels that,
That make more money on ad on
or
sponsors.
Patreon. Like, I just had a guy
Yeah.
on the channel that the majority, he like makes no money from YouTube, and the majority of his money comes from Patreon.
Wow. And I just started Patreon, right? Like two
Oh
weeks
wow,
ago. So
okay.
it's still, it's like baby. It's like very, very, very new. So yeah, I'll only know maybe like in 6 months to a year, and I'll let you know how's it going, how it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely YouTube. Like most of the revenue for sure is
Mm-hmm.
from YouTube right now.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fascinating, and it's interesting to see how different channels are slightly different from each other.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
That's for sure. So, how
Yeah.
can people that have been watching or this video, watch it now or later, how can they best support you and your channel, what you're up to?
You can follow me on my reaction channel, Schnell Jordan Reactions, or you can follow my life journey. I just moved to Toronto from Denver, Colorado, like 2 years ago. So I'm sharing a lot of like my life updates and my journey here in Toronto. So you can check me out there at Being Schnell. Or you can check out my music at Schnell Jordan Music. Yeah, Schnell Jordan Music. And yeah, you can either also follow me on my Instagram at Schnell Jordan.
That's great. Absolutely. So definitely, a lot of those links are already in the description, but I'm gonna put like the vlog channel, music channel in the description, so people that are watching
Perfect.
definitely go check those links out. But I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. This was a really fun chat, and there has
Thank
been a lot of
you.
comments about your voice, so I'm really looking forward to checking.
Oh,
Yeah, there's been a lot,
really?
so I'm looking forward to checking out these
Oh,
voice these.
thank you.
So, thank you.
You guys are the
Yeah, thank you so
best.
much. If you can just hang out for 2 seconds, actually, I want to say thank you so much to
Okay.
everybody for watching this. And like I said, the links to her stuff are in the description. Definitely go check out this stuff. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of really interesting topics I think that we talked about. But definitely thank you so much for
100%.
watching. I'm gonna